let's feast your eyes on this time capsule. These are few and far between. This is a 76 KD125. Most of them are ridden into the ground by the kids that had these back in the day and the adults that rode them, because they're a lot of fun. It's a rotary valve, 6-speed, air-cooled 2-stroke, and it punches out of its weight class for sure. It's got more power than you expect out of a little 125. It rips, and they're bulletproof, a lot of fun. So most of them got a lot of hours on them. I got ridden it into the ground over the course of time. The guy I bought this from had a collection. I did a video at his house. He had like 9 KDs. He had an MC90, 4 KD100s, KD125s, and he had a Yamaha GT60, the whole collection. And he was getting up there in years, had retired, and decided to sell the whole collection, so we purchased it. And it was in running condition when we got it, but cosmetically it needed a restoration and it needed some mechanical work. So we stripped it right down, took the tank off of it, the seat, fenders, wheels, the exhaust, stripped it right down to the engine and frame. And the mechanic himself, he did the work on all these bikes. He started with the fuel tank, gave it the bicarbonate sodium blasting clean, and then sealed the fuel tank. Went through the fuel system starting at the tank. Then he rebuilt actually replaced, the fuel petcock, a new fuel line with a new fuel filter. That's a new air boot, also new carb to airbox air boot. Put a new air filter in it, and completely removed this whole side of the engine over here. This side of the engine is where it has the rotary valve induction, the carburetor, the oil injection, and the clutch. Pulled everything off and went through the whole system on it. Before it was put back together, all the aluminum covers were polished. The exhaust system was removed. That was sandblasted and painted. It's got a new KD125 sticker here, new hardware holding the... It's pretty remarkable that the original exhaust isn't dented up. Usually they would get all dented up. So went through the primary side of the engine, rebuilt the carb, did a compression test, everything checked out good, rode it, and it ran and rode excellent. So the front wheel, when that was off, they put a new Dunlop Sports D952 front tire. You can see it's still got that massive hairy knobbies on there, front and matching rear. While the tire was off, the forks were polished, the rim was cleaned. It's got a new tube. The original front fender, it was in excellent condition, so we left that alone. And, this is a reproduction Kawasaki number plate, so I put a new number plate on it with the rubber. This is the actual factory original rubber. It was held on by a rubber band back in the day. That's how they did it. New brake lever, new clutch lever, new grips. These are the Pro Grip 801s in black and gray, which matches the paint job, black and gray. The fuel tank was restored by Woody. He laid down this beautiful paint job. This is original factory reproduction graphics that were used on there, exactly like the originals, and then he clear coated over the graphics. Real beautiful job what he did on the paint job. The seat was recovered by the previous owner when he had it. He had done all the seats on his bikes. I think he was in upholstery, but every bike I got from him had a new seat cover on it. The rear fender was restored and painted by Woody. This is the original steel rear fender. They don't make them like that anymore. The frame rails were repainted. The frame sides were repainted. The pegs were repainted. The brake lever was repainted. The swing arm was repainted. The brake arm. The rear wheel was, both wheels were put in this soda blasting machine, or the, not soda blasting, the vapor blasting machine, I'm sorry. We have a soda blaster too, but these are vapor blasted. So the rear tire is a brand new Dunlop Sports D952F with the new tube. The rear wheel was vapor blasted. The spokes were cleaned. Coming around this side here you can see it has a new gold drive chain on a new rear sprocket. So this side of the bike, you can see Woody actually restored the side cover too, repainted that, freshly painted that. The frame rails were painted. The swing arm was painted. The peg was painted. The ignition cover was professionally polished, so it looks like chrome. That's not chrome. That's polished aluminum, and painted around the black, repainted the black Kawasaki logo. This is embossed, engraved in there. The cylinder was repainted. The head was repainted. It's got a new spark plug cap and a new coil. So that's pretty much everything I remember that we did by memory. I know the work order between Jeff, Woody, And John Lee and the guys that worked on it, between the restoring the tank and everything we did, it was 44 hours of shop labor, so it added up pretty quick. Let me just go down the parts list to make sure I got everything here. New carb air boot, left and right levers, new kill switch, I forgot about that. The new tires, front and rear with tubes, new carb air boot, new NGK spark plug, fuel lines and fuel filter, fuel petcock, pro grips, a new ignition coil, new clutch plates, and new clutch springs. I think I mentioned that. The Caswell tank restoration kit for the interior of the tank, new gold chain, gear oil, and the SI7 injector oil synthetic. And of course that pretty much sums it up. So bike looks like brand new, runs like brand new. It is a 50-year-old motorcycle with a lot of the original cycle parts on it that do show some patina and aging, which, as you'd expect on a 50-year-old cycle. The spokes aren't perfect, but they look great. But if you look real closely, there's a little bit of patina on them that I don't even know if the camera will pick it up. But the fork uppers here, these got pitted. They had very thin chrome on them back in the day. So the only way to restore those would be to re-chrome them or repaint them. The detail shop painted from here to here kind of as a rust preventative measure to make sure the pits don't go any farther. But down here, of course, no paint was put on the lower side there. They did paint in between these two fork uppers. The best thing to do would be to either re-chrome those or repaint them. But you know, the parts and labor on these things adds up quickly. So we don't want to price them. We're already, the work order itself, 44 hours of shop labor for the work we did plus the parts is going to be substantially more. If we build it out at $150 an hour, which is our shop rate, plus the parts, it comes to just under $7,500, which is more than the bike's worth, not including the cost of the bike. So we have to stop somewhere, otherwise we're going to have a $15,000 bike that no one wants to buy. So we try to value engineer what we're doing here, and some of the things we left original are the original fork tubes, and they do have that pitting on there. The original spokes, they did go through the vapor blaster, so they look really good, but they're not perfectly. The original zinc coating on it is faded and a little worn, but it's original. It's 50 years old. These are the original shocks. The chrome on the shocks isn't perfect, but overall, the bike looks outstanding. If you're going to make it a museum piece, you might want to put some new fork tubes on there. Probably cost a couple $100 for those, and you could relace the wheels. A set of spokes is probably $60 a wheel plus labor, and take it to the next level, or leave it the hell alone, because those are all the original components, and just enjoy it and ride it. It sure is going to be way nicer than anybody else's KD125 that you're running to along the trail, unless it's another one that was restored like this. And the main thing is these are a lot of fun to ride. They're just it is like a time machine. It's like going into another dimension back in time in a time capsule when you get on one of these, if you had one when you were a kid. And I'm surprised at how hard it pulls for a 125, and it's definitely the rotary valve induction. These definitely pull harder than the DTs from this era. So definitely a cool piece. You can see the original shifters still nice and straight. The original case covers are in mint condition. This wasn't a bike that was abused to off-road. The tank's perfectly straight. The cases on this side are real nice, and if you look at the frame lowers here, there's not a single ding on this side here. It's perfectly straight, as is the down tube. It's in remarkably good condition. You'd be hard pressed to find a nicer one for sure. So, yep, and it has a kickstand too. So we've done a fine job bringing it to where it is now today, and now it's going to go up for sale. Finding a new home, new forever home, hopefully. Definitely, if you're a Kawasaki guy or a vintage, or you want to get into vintage, you can't go wrong with one of these KDs. They're pretty much bulletproof. They're easy to service if you ever needed to do anything on it, and it should last you a lifetime. It's already 50 years old, so it should last another 50. Thanks for watching, and God bless America.